what are we going to cover today? We're going to talk about advocacy plans and how can we as youth develop our own advocacy plans and make sure that they are scalable, they're impactful, and we actually can gain investment and support for them. Sounds boring? Okay. Let's go to the agenda. So what's going to happen is, first of all, I'm going to give you a boring presentation. And then that's going to be for 10 minutes. And then for 60 minutes, you are going to be the ones who are working, who are developing the plans. So we have 60 minutes for fireside chats, for fights, for arguments, and heated discussions. All right, 60 minutes. And then we have 40 minutes for you to present the advocacy plans that you have worked on to a feedback committee. What's the nice part about this? We have gifts for the group that's going to be gaining the highest score for their advocacy plan from the judging committee. Sorry, the feedback committee. Sorry, Yara. How does that sound? Okay, so first 10 minutes, what's going to happen? A boring presentation. 60 minutes, you're going to develop your own plans. 40 minutes for presentations, and then we're going to have a winner. Let's start with the boring presentation. What is community-led climate action? Why is community-led climate action important? Anyone here has led their own community plans? Anyone has an initiative that supports youth in the climate action or the climate change sphere? All right, we have a hand there. We have 2 hands here. 3 hands. 4. All right. So why is community-led climate action important? And these questions, I'm going to take answers from you, and we have chocolates. So when we say climate-led action is important because of, or when we invest in targeted action, what do you mean by that? I want to start with the people who raised their hands.
Can you come forward? Hello, everyone. So I think that's very important to have a really big community that have knowledge about climate changes and about. Can you hear me now? Okay. My name is Lovro. I come from Croatia, and this is my first day here on this conference. So few years ago, I think 2 years ago, my team and we developed one project that was about fishing nets, but that are good for the sea because they don't they are bio-friendly, and this was a really big project in our country, and we won 3rd place on national competition. So this is why I raised my hand, because we hope that our community get a little bit more knowledge about how we can change climate and help the world and the planet. That's all. Thanks.
Thank you. So Laurie said your project targeted fisheries, right? If they didn't have this targeted action plan towards fisheries, we have a lot of, and I'm at least, how many SDGs do we have? Wait. I'm going to give a chocolate for this. How many SDGs are there? How many SDGs do we have? Okay, let's try again here.
17.
So we have 17 SDGs, and there are a lot of action plans that are carried around that. What makes a good community advocacy plan or project impactful is if the focus is targeted. They know what they're targeting and they know what they want to do. I saw another hand raised here. Someone had, all right, can you introduce yourself and tell us more? How does your project involve in communities for the desert?
Hello, my name is Jordan from the Bahamas. And my project. So our project with my colleagues and I is we collect recyclables, and the money from the recyclables we take back and we give it to young disadvantaged persons in the Bahamas. And so they're able to buy school uniform, books, and all sorts of necessities that they may need.
So how is Jordan's initiative giving back to the community? Here's another chocolate. How's Jordan's, for the people in the front, if you were listening, how did Jordan project or initiative give back to the community in the Bahamas? All right.
I think that what he's doing is great, by the way. Good job. And I think that they're doing this by giving exactly what they need. They're giving the community something that they need and not something that they think that the community needs, but rather an actual necessity. And that's a way that they're contributing to their community. Raquel.
Thank you, Raquel. So the importance. So we see that a successful action plan is one that not only involves the community, but also makes sure that the community is benefiting back from the outcomes of this climate plan. Third is modern solutions. We had another hand on initiatives who had, all right. What's your name? Shara? Shanna? Shannon. Shannon, how does your initiative involve modern solutions?
Yeah, sure. So back in my hometown outside of Philadelphia, a few years ago, me and some classmates, we discovered going through like old history artifacts of our town that our town's environmental education center was actually built in the 1960s over an old wetland. And they filled in the wetland and they put an environmental education center on top of it. So as this huge town initiative, we decided that we are going to create a new environmental education center that was living building challenge certified, which is it building does more good for the environment. And there's a lot of like environmental certificates that aim for infrastructure and buildings to do less harm, but instead we want our building to do more good. So it was on a closed loop system, completely carbon neutral, and gave back to the community. So yeah.
So what kind of modern solutions is Shannon's initiative employing? And what is anyone's familiar? Or what are some modern solutions that are serving in general in relation to climate change? Technology, how has technology helped us? I don't want to hear ChatGPT answers, but ChatGPT did help us a lot. And if you're deploying these technologies that are being developed in the right way, then you're capitalizing on what already exists, which is a smart way to start rather than starting from scratch and reinventing the wheel. And the last one, or the last component we have, is how can you make sure you're involving the right stakeholders? Before we get to that, I want you all to try to clap, please. Okay, perfect. Now, may I ask you to clap with one hand? No, you cannot use the table, only one hand. I mean, we can see how ineffective it gets if one tries to do things on their own. Involving the right stakeholders will help you shorten the way and will help you capitalize on what their strengths points are. We had one last hand with an initiative or a project. No? Someone here? Okay. No one would like to share with us their initiative? All right. Yeah. And tell us what's your name? Aaron. Karen. How are you, what's your initiative and how are you involving stakeholders or partners in it?
Hi, people. My name's Karen. I'm from Zambia. So my project is about lighting education, giving solar light to schools and places that don't have access to power, to children basically that are in schools, to provide them with spots that in case they come back from school, they have chance to study after that, to promote more higher education in my country. Thank you.
So who are Karen's stakeholders in this project? Tell me. All right. Schools? Who else? Are you working with any technology companies? Do you have a team? Okay. So these are some of the stakeholders that Karen is using in her initiative. I want you to consider these 4 points while you are building your own advocacy plans. This was my 10-minute boring presentation. I'm gonna move the mic to Yara to walk you through the steps of what you're gonna do today. Are you bored already? All right, great.
There were mixed responses there, but I promise we'll make this quick. Guys, we'll split into groups and it'll get really exciting really, really soon. So basically, as Haya mentioned, we're going to split you into groups and you're going to develop your own climate campaigns. But I just want to walk you through a couple of steps that you should consider when developing your campaign. So we have a toolkit or a resource that you guys can reference and use when thinking about what kinds of campaign you can implement within your own community. And it covers 7 main steps. But I just want to make this clear that these are 7 guiding steps. You don't have to follow this to a T, but they're just important things to consider. So first of all, when choosing your issue, as Haya mentioned, when you're targeted in your in selecting your issue, it's very, very helpful. So what within your community could use some improving? What is something that you feel passionate about? What is something that you've seen been a recurring issue within your community? And when thinking about or choosing your issue, I want you guys to think about something that's small, not something that's like really difficult to achieve, because small steps do make big impacts. So it could literally be if you feel like your country, your community could support biking, for example, then make that an initiative within your own community, installing bikes and getting people to bike instead of use their car. Something literally as simple as that. And then another thing you need to do when you're done selecting a targeted focused issue is do some background research. This is very, very important because, again, about community-led and country-specific and local action. So within your community, with this issue that you've selected, what has been the historical context? Have people tried to do this initiative before? Has it worked? Why didn't it work? What are the policies in place? Are there any challenges or barriers to implementing this initiative that you should keep in mind? Another thing is, for example, I'll just give a very simple example, but within the country that I live in, which is the UAE, the United Arab Emirates is not a walkable city. So when we talk about like not using your cars anymore, I need to think I can't just tell people to walk because it's very, very hot and this is not a solution that we can fall back upon. So you need to think about how will people respond to this? Will they agree? Will they take it? Will they reject it? So just do a very thorough study of the initiative you're trying to implement. And another thing is, again, within the research, understanding the policies in place. So we wouldn't want you to start from scratch. Obviously, it'll be much, much easier and much more practical if you build upon efforts that are already there. So is there any policy that you can build upon? Is there any policy that you can improve? And just trying to understand what policies, procedures, actions, initiatives are in place that maybe you could collaborate on to kind of realize your own solutions. And then the next step, and I think this is, and I do want to say, I do want to take a step back here, and I do want to say, I know that it sounds very taunting, so like creating your own initiative or creating your own campaign, but it's actually so much simpler than we think it is. It's so much more doable. And I think the reason behind that is because when we think about a campaign or initiative, we think about this like far-reaching and huge campaign that's going to change the world. But with these small actions that you guys take and implement within your own communities, you actually create such a drastic change. So going back into it, look at the network that you have. So let's go back to the bicycle initiative. I said that I want to have bicycles with my own community that are maybe free of charge and encourage people to use them. So I need to think about, okay, so what resources do I need to realize this initiative? I'm going to need money for my bikes. I'm going to need people to monitor the usage of the bikes, right? I'm going to need rules and procedures for using the bikes, safety instructions, right? So these are all things that you need to consider. And then another thing is, I've heard this said from my friend once, where it's like within your network, typically, we don't realize this, but usually you would know people who would know people used to you. So try to map out the people that you know. Try to think about, maybe this person is really good at media. Maybe this person has a huge platform I can capitalize on. Maybe this person is hosting an event that can connect me to a policymaker or a decision maker at a certain company. So again, it just needs a bit of brainstorming. But once you map everything out, you'll realize that if you tap into the right places, then you can actually capitalize on so much resources that are within your reach. So that's a good brainstorming exercise to do. And then number 5, capitalizing on social media. I think when we talk about youth solutions, this is a very, very important point. The world is quickly transforming. My little brother, who's in the 5th grade, is learning things in mathematics that I have never heard of before, and it's really, really impressive. So the rules are changing every day. The structure of how things work are changing every day, and media is becoming such a powerful tool. So things just almost don't exist anymore if they're not covered in media. So capitalize on your media sources, bring people together through media, highlight your initiatives, call people to action. And you guys are good at doing that. You guys understand how that works. So take that forward and make sure to capitalize on it. And then finally, writing an advocacy plan. This is the main deliverable for your 60-minute workshop session. And I'll go through this in more details in just a second. But it basically says, think about your long-term. So you picked your issue. You picked your issue, and that's great. But what are your short-term and long-term actions to achieve the solution that you came up with? We'll go into this in more detail in just a second. I just want to cover the last step. I know that this will not be able to do this today, monitoring your progress, but it's very important because if you don't monitor your progress, you wouldn't understand if your initiative's being effective. You wouldn't understand if you're achieving your KPIs and your targets. And if you monitor your progress and then highlight it to decision makers and to social media, then people would be more invested in what you're doing. And they'll look at it and they'll look at the numbers and they're saying, hey, this actually works. Maybe we should invest in it. Maybe we should participate in it. So monitoring your progress is very, very, very crucial to ensuring that your campaign is effective. All right, let's circle back to the advocacy plan really, really quickly. And then I'll go back to okay, before I do that, actually. So we have our toolkits, and our toolkits, as I've mentioned, it's a resource that's going to guide you through step-by-step how to create your advocacy plan. We have it in English and in Arabic. If you guys scan the QR codes over here, you'd be able to download it. We'll circle back to this presentation at the very end, so you can have it on hand when creating your own advocacy plans. What did I want to say? Okay. Okay, I'll give you, I'll circle back to it. Yeah. I promise we'll come back so you can scan the QR codes in just a minute. But just to walk you through the worksheets that are available, the worksheets that are available in the toolkit. So here it's going to help you brainstorm your issues, to select your issue. What change do you want to see? What are the goals to addressing this issue, and why this is important to you? Another worksheet we have is, this is the networking the networking exercise that we talked about thinking about the resources that you have within your own network. Also just a good worksheet to capitalize on. And then finally, writing your advocacy plan. So there are 6 boxes here, and there are 6 things that I want you to think of when developing your own advocacy plan. First of all, so when we talk about inputs, it's about what resources you need. So you've selected your issue. What resources do you need to make this come to fruition? What are the activities, the short-term goals or actions that you need to take to realize this campaign? The outputs, outputs versus the outcomes. The outputs are so the activities are the short-term goals, and then the outputs are where is it? Oh, the outputs are the long-term goals of your initiative. And then what challenges? And again, when we talk about like you've done the research, so what challenges will you face when creating this initiative? Is it maybe people don't know how to ride bikes? Just think about what challenges might come up when implementing your solution. And then finally, the outcomes. What are your KPIs? What makes this a successful initiative in your eyes? And then lastly, so do you have the KPIs, but also how will those KPIs impact the community you're in? And I know this sounds a little bit complicated, but I promise I'll simplify it by going back to our slide. So at the very end, so we're going to have 60 minutes right now. We're going to split into groups of at most 6. And I'd highly recommend you guys get into groups of people within the same community as you, just because I feel like you're targeting community specific challenges. So we're going to split into groups for 60 minutes, and then we're going to select 8 groups to present their campaigns to our panel. You're going to have only 3 minutes to present your campaign, and I'm well aware that this is not enough time, but highlight or consider only 4 points when presenting your campaign. What is the problem you're addressing? What is your proposed solution? Again, make it simple, targeted, and country specific. What are the long and short-term goals for your campaign? So basically to achieve your solution. What resources do you need, and how are you going to get these resources? And then are there any identifiable challenges within your community that you need to consider? All right, do we want to start?
Okay, does anyone understand what they're gonna do? Does anyone not understand what they're gonna do? All right, the first step that Yara mentioned, I'm just gonna kindly ask you to raise your hand if you already have a group of max 4 to 6 people. If you already have a group of 4 to 6 people, please raise your hand. Okay, so your 2 groups. I need 1 group to raise your hands. Your group number 1. And your group number 2. All right, 1, 2, another group. Do we have any other groups? Already? Check the, all right. 9 is too much. You want to split into 2? It's fine. We just want to make sure that you're all able to contribute to the work. You can? All right. We have group number 3 here. Group number 3. I need, are you guys ready? You ready? We have group number 4. Any other groups? All right. Group number 5. All right. You're group number 5. Do you have a group? Yeah? It's 5 and 5 is good. Because there's, so you want to be 6 of, or you can be 2 groups. Okay. Make a decision and let me know. Do you have a group here? Yes. All right. Your group 7's fine. All right. Your group number 6. Your group number 6. Okay. Do we have a group here? Here we have. Do you have a group here? You ready? Okay. Your group number 7. Group number 7. Okay. Do we have a group here? 2 groups. Can I do you? All right. Your group number 8. Your group number 9. This is group number 9. Okay, perfect. Do we have a group here? Don't tell your. I love this. All right. Your group number 7, right? Or 8? 9? Okay, your group number 10. 10. All right. Okay. May I ask group number 1 to raise their hands? Group number 1? I lost group number 1. Group number 2? Okay, group number 3? Group number 3 is here. Group number 4? 4 is here. Group number 5? Group number 5. Your group number 5? Okay. Your group number 5. All right, group number 5. Your group number 11? 1 or 2 groups? All right. Your group number 11? 11. All right. Anyone does not have a group yet? Anyone doesn't have a group? All right, we're all divided into groups. Okay, perfect. Team? لا مستحيل مستحيل. Okay. Can I ask you to pause for 1 second? Can I ask you to pause for 1 second? 1 second. Group number 10, 1 second. Group number 4, 1 second. I just want to introduce you to the facilitators. Hanan, Yara, Samar. Do you see Samar? Do you see Hanan? And Yara and myself. We're gonna be, what's your name? Zaina. Do you see Zaina? You don't see Zaina. Group number 10, you don't see Zaina. Do you see Zaina? All right. These facilitators will be going around to make sure they're answering your questions and to help you guide with the toolkit. Okay. Yara. At 12, we're gonna have the first checkpoint to make sure you started or you're almost done with your presentations. 12 p.m. I have to. Do a circle like without. sure they understand what they can.
No, no, Rhea, it's okay. 'Cause I know it's okay.
Hello, everyone. How are we doing? How are we doing so far? Did we identify the first step? If you've identified the problem that you want to tackle, just raise your hand. Okay, nice. Group 11, group 7. Okay, nice. 5, 4. Okay, the people at the back we have here. Group 4 have identified the problem. Amazing. Amazing. So we're all beyond step number 1. We have 15 more minutes for the first milestone. We're going to check in 15 minutes if where everyone is. Okay, I feel like it wasn't clear, just also for the people at the back. In 15 minutes, we're just gonna check if you are able to present already or you need more time. Okay, all right, cool. Time check at 12, we'll check if you're ready or not, all right? Still have 10 more minutes. Five more minutes for the first checkpoint. Four more minutes for the first checkpoint.
Bakoy, c'est tout.
Three more minutes. هاي اللي عم بحالها ايش؟ ما عم نطبق عليك.
Comunque è allucinante il posto, penso, da una parte fanno questa cosa, la 123, il futuro, cioè ieri in azienda di Mario, dall'altra parte è una scam totale, è una scam totale.
It's 12 already. How are we doing on time? 5 more minutes? Okay. I see a request for 5 more minutes, so we're going to take 5 more minutes. Please try to finalize your presentations in 5 minutes. If you would like to present, just be ready. If you would rather not present, also let us know. And I want you to take into consideration the nomination of at max 2 people. So maximum 2 people from the group are going to present. 1 or 2. Okay, we did receive a request to increase the number of people who are presenting. As long as you do not go beyond the 3 minutes, we don't mind that more than 2 people present. But you have a max of 3 minutes, and we're going to have a timer, so please don't make us stop you. 3 more minutes. 2 more minutes. 2 more. One more minute. 1 more minute.
It's not entirely chocolate, but it's a chocolate. I have a friend whose mother is Italian. He's always judging our company and our chocolate. This is not original company. This is not original.
Okay, 12:05. May I ask everyone to turn and look at the screen? May I ask everyone to look at the screen? May I ask everyone, hi group, may I ask everyone here to look at the screen? May I ask everyone here to look at the screen? I know you are very involved in working, but may I ask you to be ready and head to the screen? A lot of cooking is happening here, but I'm just gonna ask you to be ready. Teams, let's be ready to present. Be ready to present. Are we ready to present? Yalla. Okay, before we start presenting, I have 4 pieces of chocolate. I have 4 pieces of chocolate and I have a question. Have you heard of the name of the room? Okay, it's not gonna work like that. People at the back? People at the back? We need dead silence in the room in order to be able to start. People at the back? All right, now we can start. The name of the room is NEOM. What does NEOM mean? What does NEOM mean?
So neom comes from the word neo. It's broken down into 2. Neo, new, and I'm not sure of the word, but it means future. So it's pretty a new future for the Saudi Arabia itself. Ken from Bangkok, Thailand.
Quite impressive, Ken, to be honest. So neo is the Greek word for new, and M stems from mustaqbal, which is the Arabic word for future. Okay, here's your piece of information. Without further ado, I think we're all ready to present. Allow me first to introduce our esteemed feedback committee panelists. If you'd please join us to the stage, non-existent stage. Can we have a clap for our judging panelists? Okay, We're going to have a quick introduction on the feedback committee. Please do pay attention because the feedback committee is going to score your presentations. You have 3 minutes to present, and we're going to have a timer. And then the feedback committee has 2 minutes to ask you questions on your presentation. Is it clear? All right, perfect.
Thank you very much, Aya. Yeah. Oh, yes. Sorry. Good morning, everyone. Nice to see you all. I'm Riccardo Toshiri from IRENA, the International Renewable Energy Agency, and I look forward to your presentation and to see who is going to win this contest. It's a pleasure. Thank you. And of course, if later you want to catch up or just to meet me as IRENA representative, I am here and you're welcome to approach me. Thank you.
Good morning, good afternoon. My name is Dora Kujo. I'm a senior operations officer with the Climate Investment Funds. There's 11 billion multilateral funds that work with multilateral development banks across some 72 countries worldwide, helping to promote low carbon and climate resilient development pathways. I'm very pleased for the opportunity to be working with you all today, primarily around how to better position youth in the fight against climate. I hope the lessons and experiences that we learned from you today helps to better inform our decisions. And I hope that there's a two-way learning. Thank you and looking forward to receiving your input today. Bye.
Hello, everyone. Hi, good morning, good afternoon. Hey, good evening too. Are you still alive? Good. Hello, everyone. My name is Ahmed Oda. I am actually from Yango, and I will be from the judge committee, which is I am from the youth side. So I will be with you. I will be supporting you, but I will support good and the perfect projects that it can really make an impact. Because what we always looking in Yango is to make an impact and to make a change. So I'm looking forward for your presentations. I am so excited to hear it. And thank you.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Here, Duccio. I'm from UNDP, and UNDP implements this Youth for Climate initiative, actually, that I think that is quite aligned on what we are doing today. Youth for Climate provide like technical assistance and financial support, so brilliant idea. We are opening the second phase of Youth for Climate, and I think that this is a very good basin of ideas for what will be the next phase next year. So willing to listen from you, such brilliant inputs. Thanks.
Another of us. I guess I'll be joining Ahmed on the youth side. I'm a volunteer in the International Climate Advocacy and Policy Training course and care about climate. And I have my own little advocacy initiative back home in Egypt. So I hope I give something back. And I'm super, super excited to hear all of your projects. And I'm super honored to be part of this esteemed panel. Thank you.
Thank you, Basmala, and huge thanks for our feedback committee. Without further ado, we're going to start with the presentations. I'm going to ask you to raise your hand if you would like to present. Okay, nice. So you're going to have 3 minutes sharp. We're going to unfortunately have to stop you at the 3-minute mark, so please try not to exceed the first minute. One, are you ready to present? All right. I want the spokespeople to come forward, please.
Sometimes on your CL. Yeah, just say I and then George. We don't need
All right, let's put it together for group number 1, and your minutes will start now.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. We're international students from my university in Madrid. So, our issue we are trying to tackle is heat islands in Madrid. So, this year, Madrid was found the worst city with the heat island effect, having a 8.5 Celsius degrees higher in the center of the city than in rural area.
So we proposed several solutions. So I don't know if you guys are aware, but Madrid is home to one of the biggest rooftop cities in Europe. So we have decided that in order to reduce this heat island effect, we would increase the amount of rooftop bars using greenery. We would increase the amount of green gardens on top of roofs in order to release some of the heat that's absorbed by the concrete. And with future implementation of possible asphalt, which absorbs more moisture from the water to release some of the heat and cooling it down, as well as release some of the air which gets trapped.
So in terms of short-term goals, obviously the first is to reduce the temperature in the city and increase the quality of life. But with this, we have long-term goals, and that includes improving our air quality, which is very bad in Madrid, as well as decreasing our energy consumption levels.
So when it comes to resources, we will use, of course, the private sector. They will be interested in providing money to build those gardens, and also the public sector can provide some subsidies and do some own initiatives where they spend to improve the heat problem, and also knowledge. When we build gardens, people will be interested in doing so who already have background in gardening, and also gardening expert, gardening companies. They can provide knowledge on how to compose those gardens.
As for the main challenges we identified for our proposal, first and foremost would be water consumption. We would want to limit the increase in water consumption for the city. So for this, we have thought of implementing closed loop water systems wherever applicable to collect rainwater and use it for the gardening. And furthermore, we also identified building structure as one of the main limitants and could be one of our higher cost sources, since some buildings are not prepared to support the extra weight on the extra soil put up on the rooftops. And we would be happy to answer any of your questions during our question time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Group 1, for sticking to time, and judging panels, 2 minutes.
So you've basically covered everything. Your project is extremely unique to Madrid, which is where you come from. It's very unique based on your community. It's effective. Your targets are defined. Your resources are defined. You've addressed your challenges and how to solve them. I think the only thing that you haven't addressed is your communication strategy. How do you plan on reaching to those partners that you want to partner with? How do you plan on getting funding, for example?
Well, I think like to complement what my colleague said, I would be interested to listen more about like the impact assessment of what you're implementing actually.
Okay, what I see here also about the research more. I will be focusing on that because do you have the data analysis from the scientists about the heat into the Madrid? Do you have the database for it? Because what I see that you are missing the academic sector here. So yeah.
Communication. When it comes to the communication strategy, firstly, we would contact the bars in Madrid, the rooftop bars and the rooftop owners. It would be through basically promoting it as a marketing idea for them to say, okay, you can now promote your bar as sustainable with a better environment. So, and that's also helping the community in Madrid. So we would present it as that. And for the town hall and public authorities, they also have this current initiative called Islas de Color, which is targeting very similar ideas to us. So we would probably have very similar ways of, we would have, since we have similar objectives, we have the way to get public funding from them.
Okay. So sorry, the time is up. Thank you so much, group one. Can you put our hands together for group number one? All right, group number two, are you ready to present? The judging committee is scoring group number one, group number two. Okay, who is ready to present? All right, group number four. You? All right.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm Luka Medvedovic.
Okay. The people at the back, please try to pay attention to your colleagues. Group number four. So if you go a bit to the back so the judging committee can see you. 3, 2, 1, your 3 minutes are starting now.
Thank you very much again. I'm Luka Medvedovic. We are from Zagreb School of Economics and Management and Luxembourg School of Business. And today we're going to talk about cow farts. You probably heard about enormous emissions that cows can produce. It's estimated that 4% of all global emissions come from cows. So let's observe one farm as an example, all livestock, pigs, cows, whatever. One farm emits methane, produces biomass, and all of that goes completely wasted. We would want to introduce a new concept. We would create a dome in which animals would be held, a humane dome with solar panels on the top to generate energy from the sun, air conditioning, methane collectors that can be used later for energy, and of course, biomass scoopers that can be also generative for energy. Also, methane filters will be introduced as well as collectors for any residual gases, solar panels for extra efficiency. In overall, we estimate that the entire system would be producing positive net output of energy and a positive economic growth for people that are holding their animals in this way. We would also, in the short term, we would talk about reducing emissions. That would be our primary concern. But in the long term, we would also increase the economic benefits of this new style of farming, a new level of modern animal keeping. Thank you very much.
Thank you, group number four. Judging panelists, if you have any questions, we can start now.
Sure. Thank you very much for the presentation. Actually, regarding your project, I would like to know a bit more about the resource assessment that you have done and the replicability of it, because you have presented a very nice project, but I think that there are some elements, including the one related to resources, that is still missing.
So, a farm itself is most of the resources produced on a farm are looked as trash. So biomass, for example, solar energy that is not being collected. So if we start collecting things that animals emit and animals produce other than dairy products and meat, for example, it would immediately be an economic net positive. So it's not being collected currently. And if we put solar panels on top and collect methane that is being produced at 264 pounds of methane per year, we would power much more energy productions. Yeah. Per cow. Sorry, this was per cow.
Right. Thank you. Obviously, this is very innovative, no two ways about it. But I'm also interested in the willingness of the farmers you're talking about. Your presentation did make reference to your target farmers and their willingness to take on this new innovation. And what do you see as the avenue to bring in the resources to uptake their interest? Because it's going to be heavy cost if they're going to be able to take this on.
This is going to be financed by impact funds. The benefit of this is that most of the resources currently, as I've stated to your previous colleague, are not being collected. And in the long term, as efficiency improves or solar panels, especially, the larger the farm, the more funds or economic return a farmer has. So in 5 to 10 years, as efficiency grows, we would see net positive of cash flow.
Time is up. Thank you so much, group number 4. Please,
Thank you
let's
very
put our hand together for them. Okay. Who's also ready to present? Anyone ready to present? Yeah. Okay. No groups are ready to present? That's it? Group number 10, are you ready? No? You can, okay, great. All right, perfect. What's the number of your group? Okay, group 8, let's put our hands together for group number 8. And may I please ask all the groups, if you are the one who's presenting, you wouldn't want anyone to be talking while you're presenting? And we're more than 100 people in the room, so it really gets noisy. You have 3 minutes. Introduce yourself and you can start. Your 3 minutes start now.
Hello, everyone. My name is Angel Johnson, and I'm from the Bahamas. Everyone here is from the Bahamas. So in the Bahamas, our energy bills are skyrocketing. And in order to have a sustainable Bahamas, we have to address this issue. The Bahamas is a subtropical climate, so we have ample sun. We propose making energy-efficient items like power-saving light bulbs, appliances, etc., more accessible to everyone, aka the small man.
All right, an existing policy in the Bahamas. In our country, custom fees are exempted for these items, but the prices to obtain are usually beyond reach for the average Bahamian. Our long-term goal for our plan is to have energy-efficient power plant throughout the Bahamas.
So in regards to the resources that we would require, we want to basically put together a board of stakeholders and executives that are able to bring resources, that are able to bring funding, knowledge to the Bahamas, and so that we are able to make these products. So with that, and in order to do that, we would basically need to go out around the world and look up people that are willing to invest into the Bahamas to ensure that the Bahamas is able to get to the sustainability that we require and need.
Okay, so now we need a campaign strategy so we can be able to disseminate information. So after the Board of Executive has been formed and connections have already been established for the energy saving items to be shipped to the Bahamas, we will use social media platforms like Facebook and Instagram and use the promotion ads and stuff. We would also reach out to our local radio stations and the billboards so they can be put up. Canvassing door to door will also be done to make sure that everyone knows about it and giving them information that they need to know. The question arises how we will convince the average Bahamians to transition to using these energy saving items. Now, in the Bahamas, once the price is right and it saves them from having to spend their extra spending money on power bills, they'll go for it right away. And we will also host community forums to educate the Bahamians.
Thank you, group number 8. Judging committee, anyone has any questions?
Again, thank you so much. This sounds really, really innovative and something that can roll off the ground very quickly. I just wanted to quickly pick your thoughts on, are there any policies in the country that you intend to latch this on to? And I did not hear much about the private sector and their role in this. It seems you're going to be forming a board, but this seems to be more coming from the private sector side. So just wanted to pick your thoughts on these two angles. One is which policies you're going to be working in, and does that mean having to reform them? And two, how do you really bring the private sector to be your partner?
So in the Bahamas, we recently had a cabinet shuffle, And we recently had a minister responsible specifically for energy. So this is a known problem amongst the Bahamas in general. We need better energy, or we need a more sustainable energy, because currently we face things like blackouts, load sharing. Constantly, we have certain islands, a lot of islands, we have generators in them. We have 700 islands and keys. So it's a lot. And some islands are weeks without power due to the things we have in place currently. But hopefully, once our minister gets us, hopefully she gets everything together.
Thank you very much. Which are the risks that you see having while implementing this project?
The question?
Which are the risks that you see coming when you are implementing this project?
So some of the risks I see is possibly trying to get the Bahamian people involved in like trying to transition into the solar energy. Normally when people aren't really aware of what is they're going to be the result or how it's going to get to that result or how to get to it, they're more like skeptical and don't really want to get to that. So that's something a risk I would see. And also like a risk more with climate change would be like, we are like in a zone where it's normally known for like hurricanes and stuff. So that would be like a big risk for like solar panels and like windmills and all that stuff. So
thank you very much.
Thank you so much, group number 8. All right, who is ready to present? Time's running out. All right, we have a presentation from group number 5. Group number 5. Let's put our hands together for group number 5. Group number 5 is quite popular, I see. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. So we are the representative from Thailand. So we are from small college in Bangkok, which focus on culinary art. Our main issue is about food waste. So here we are going to present the solution of it.
So we're going to take things a bit smaller. We're going to look to solve some issue inside of our college itself. The main issue that we have would be food waste, because we're culinary based. So we don't currently do anything with food waste besides just crushing it and it goes to a landfill, creating more methane gas, greenhouse gas. So what we are looking to do is to use a food composter, but it has to be run on renewable, clean energy itself. From, let's say, first Thailand climate is quite similar to Saudi Arabia itself. Solar power is looking to be a very good option. The short and long-term goals that we're looking to have is, of course, to create awareness for everyone in the community itself. And what we're going to do with the fertilizers that we get from the composter is we're going to bring it to a community park next to our college itself. So we can send students from our college to grow more vegetables, more plants, and reuse it back into our college. And the resources that we are looking to use is, of course, the awareness and cooperation of the students itself. And this also brings us to the challenge, because the main issue and the main challenge of this would be to the cooperation of everyone. Everyone likes to, let's say, go about doing their own things, and they wouldn't really care about food waste because they don't see it. So what I would propose to my college is to implement a plan where each person has their own individual bin, and we weight the food waste of each person and penalize them by the grades. Controversial, but I think it would be the first way that would work, and this would in turn create awareness for everyone in the college itself and to next generations to come. Thank you.
Thank you, group number 5. Judging panelists, anyone has any questions?
So I really like that you went on addressing your smaller community first. You've defined your targets, you've defined a bit of the long-term plan. I'd love to hear you speak on how you want to then spread to other campuses, for example, or how you want to spread this to your larger community. That's square 1. 2, I don't believe you've addressed your investors. How do you plan to get partners or sponsors or investment for your project? Even if it's on a small scale, you'll still need some support. Yeah, that's it.
The first issue, Oh, sorry, what was the first question again? Yep.
First question is your long-term plans. How do you plan on spreading outside of your campus into your larger community, then investments?
I believe that the change has to come from oneself, starting with one person. You may have a small impact, but it will eventually, as a community, it will lead to a much bigger impact. So starting with one person, that person can bring back to their own implement that into their own families, and so on. So it kind of spreads into a word of mouth and action itself. Investors-wise, of course, we're looking to give back to the community park. It's a government-funded park, so we're looking to get the local local government, provincial government to support us with the composter machine itself, because it is quite costly, and the solar power itself is also quite costly to install.
Thank you again. If I heard correctly, there was this mention of polluter, some elements of polluter pays principle, as in if people pollute, as in if they create food waste, they'll be penalized. That sounds a little bit, so I just wanted to speak a bit more to that and see that as a communication strategy, how you pull that into your strategy.
So we're, as we said before, we're culinary based. So we have a lot of food waste in the kitchen itself, but we learn about food waste and how to minimize food waste as a class, but not everyone kind of goes along with it. And everything just goes into the big bin and we just trash everything. So instead of having one big bin for the class, have one bin per station. So each person, so the instructors can then go and weigh out because we're given a specific amount of ingredients per person. Then we weigh out how much food waste one person has. Because everyone has the same amount to start with. Let's see who has the most waste, and we can penalize them accordingly.
Thank you, group number 5. Let's put our hands together for them. Thank you so much. Okay. Next group. We're going to have to move fast, fast, fast. Group number 10, go ahead. Put our hands together for group number 10. Group number 10 is not very popular, I see. Coming on with full force, group number 10. You have 3 minutes. Please introduce yourself and you can start.
Hi, everybody. I'm Valentina, and I'm a student of environmental engineering. So please, I need your help. Please raise your hand if someone is staying in a hotel and eats a buffet in the morning. Who will eat buffet in the morning? Okay, just that produced 79,000 tons of waste food. Okay, so that's our problem, waste food in hotels.
So we're from the Bahamas and from Cancun, which in Mexico, which are both regions that have a lot of hotels and tourism industries. And we've seen that the hotel industry produces a lot of food waste. So our goal is to tackle the food waste in hotels and also to give back to the community. So first and foremost, the food can be donated to the people who are in need. We're tackling the issue of food security within our region, but also thinking about how we can give back to the environment as well with composting systems and developing back into our agricultural industry.
Okay, so the proposed solution, like you heard, first it's okay. In resume, there are 2 ways. First, the food in a good way, we can leverage that food to the people who need it. Could be like the same employers or the hotel. And if the other way to manage the food is spoiled, okay, compost the food. What is the short goals and the long goals? First, to the main objective that we have is the long goal, make it a law. If you want to have a hotel and you want to serve food in your hotel, you have to take this law that, okay, if your food is in a good way, you have to take this to your employers and take advantage of that. And if you don't, and if the food isn't in a good way, you have to compost them.
So that's our long-term goal, is to have it governmentally regulated. In the short term, we hope to build some relationships with some hotels so that we can see the pros of doing this. As we're saying, for the composting, to give back into the environment. So food that has been eaten or leftovers can be composted versus food that is close to an expiration date or hasn't been touched can be donated to the people in need. So in the short term, by building these relationships and showing the progress, then we can give that to the government and then implement a law after that. Cool. So the next question is, what resources does your campaign require and how will you attain them? So first, we're going to need to acquire some sort of composting system or mechanism. And this requires many bits and pieces, including a collection system. There's going to be data analytics that's going to be done. We need software, hardware, apps. This is where we reach out to both the public and the private sector, including the ministry or the relevant ministries, maybe agriculture, the environment, NGOs, and applying for small grants. We're also going to need some volunteers to assist with collection and sorting. We're going to need to identify our beneficiaries, so schools, shelters, food kitchens, and farms, be it both produce and livestock, and then identifying where we're going to collect from through the policy that we would have established in the short-term and long-term goals.
And some of our challenges would be, first and foremost, establishing a mindset and a culture around not wasting food. So educational campaigns, both to the general public to understand the importance of not wasting food, but also within the hotel industry itself, through the guests, through the employees, and how they can all be aware of maintaining a more circular food system as well. And on top of that, also the transportation, distribution, making sure that we have all of the relevant moving pieces for things to work. And lastly, hotel compliance, making sure that hotels are regulating with these different things that we have.
Judging panelists, anyone with questions? Anyone has any questions? Yeah.
Thank you very much. Quite an innovation that you're describing, bringing the hotel industry into the food waste discussion, and more of a circular economy within that. My quick question is on identifying, first of all, the interest and the willingness of the hotel industry will be key. So I want you to speak to that. You've talked about the value chain, but I want to hear what will trigger the interest of the hotel industry, because it's a lot of work on their part. So a quick one on your communication strategy with the primary targets.
For the economy, advantage for the hotels could be the economy. Okay, there's in Mexico, there's a law that say that you have to give to your employers a food. So you don't have to make other buffet to all your employers. If you have food in a good form, you can use that. So there's other ways of money, or another ways of money is the way that you trash. The trash is food. The trash is money. So in Mexico, the food and all the trash is on the ground. That contaminates the water. That could be more. That's more money there. So,
oh.
May I ask another question? How this is a community-led project?
Yes, so we'll be investing back into the community as much as possible. So we talked about giving back to some of the major stakeholders were schools, shelters, donations to hospitals as well, and making sure both of our countries have a big disparity with the hotel industry taking up a lot of the more wealthy guests and having a lot of food, and right around on the outskirts of that, we have very poor communities that don't have enough food. So food security was our main priority, to make sure that the communities in need have as much as possible, and it's community-led in the way that it is basically people who are from the community and have witnessed the needs of the community taking a stand to ensure that those needs are being met, and that we are taking what we've witnessed and bringing that to policy.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, next group. All right, I see the people here. What group number are you? Group number 11. Group number 11. Okay, group number 11, your 3 minutes are starting now.
Hi, my name is Aranza. I come from Cancun, Mexico. And who here eats seafood or enjoys eating seafood? Only you? Nobody here? Okay. Well, let me tell you that you're eating microplastics. Exactly 5 grams per week, which is like a credit card for average. So this is the problem that we are approaching, microplastics in our daily consume. And we came from, well, okay. So the microplastics, it's a very great topic. And
Okay, so the solutions, we're gonna separate this for the four parts. So, which is the law, economic, socials, and technologies. The laws, the government should be concerning about these solutions and attack them by the law. For example, when you throw the trash away, you have to get the punish in this, what is called, in this area. Economics, increase the price of the products which is made from the plastic. Socials, we're gonna make like the people awareness about the plastic and microplastic and give them a knowledge. Technologies, uh, we're gonna use the social medias to give them the knowledge and contents about decrease the plastic.
okay, so basically, we want to approach to people and let them know about this topic. Social media, as my partner said, it's a very good way to achieve this goal because we all have social media and we all see your TikToks. So with this way, we can reach people. And also, for example, in Mexico, we have this new law that in supermarkets we don't use any more plastic bags, so we have to take our own tote bags. So this way we can reduce them and let the big companies make products with with the recycled products. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, group number 11. Judging panelists, any question?
Wonderful idea on the microplastics. However, I have a small question. You haven't identified your partners. Who are you collaborating with on this? Who are the people that could help you filter out or get rid of microplastics? Which communities are you targeting in order to achieve your project? How do you manage as well to get funding, for example, for these? Another question is risks. What do you think are the risks that could face you in attempting to establish such projects?
Okay. So there are many companies right now, like for example, Elon Musk has this big company that invests in climate actions and these kind of projects. So we will our idea is to approach these big companies to invest in our project, and this way we let our society with education know about the topic, because obviously if you don't know what's the problem, how you are gonna fix it. So that's our solution.
Thank you. One more question. I see that if I'm playing devil's advocate, you are attacking the seafood industry, right? From a layman's standpoint, because the seafood industry, the microplastics are being found in seafood. So your target, the main group that can begin to orient the change will come from the seafood industry and how they partner with the sources of the pollution. I just want you to speak a bit more, because I'm trying to capture your main audience or the main group where you want to see the transformation start from.
So our main target is the seafood. I mean, like microplastics are everywhere, not just in seafood. It's like, for example, now we are breeding microplastics, but the seafood industry, for example, in 2020, 367 million metric tons of plastics were manufactured, and is expected to triplicate in 2050. So as a starter, like the seafood industry and like the knowledge about it will be our mainly target. Yeah.
Thank you so much, group number 11. And group number 9 is ready to present. 3 minutes start from.
Good morning. We are team number 9 from the Bahamas. The worst thing about a hurricane is that you can see it coming. You can anticipate the storm and prepare for it. You can buy large quantities of food and do everything that you need to prepare for the inevitable. However, nothing can truly prepare someone for the horrors that come after the storm is finished.
Since Hurricane Dorian in 2019, many issues have plagued the island of Grand Bahama. Today, we're focusing on the contamination of our water systems. As expected, water contamination presents numerous health risks and drastically affects individuals' quality of life.
I was blessed with the opportunity in 2022 to go around with a group of citizen scientists to various wells on the island of Grand Bahama. The groundwater samples from each well was tested for salinity, temperature, and much more. We found that the salt water brought into our water table from Hurricane Dorian 5 years ago showed a little less salinity.
So as for resources, what can we do? We plan to utilize the community to spread awareness through education. By doing this, we hope to generate additional funding, which can be used to fund the goals that Destiny will now present.
Okay, so for short-term goals, we have to reach out to private charities or other charities to provide free water filters. So this can help with the water filtration system. And for long-term goals, we have it to make it a policy in order to harvest rainwater. So that can also help with the water filtration as well. So in conclusion, by uncontaminating the water system, it can help with Bahamians' way of life in terms of drinking water and bathing. Because of the hurricane, it is contaminated. So with the filtration, it can assist us in having a better way of life for drinking water.
Thank you, Group 9. Judges?
Thank you very much. That you're looking at bringing solutions to quite a major problem. I didn't hear sound of the government's role in this. I hear you talking about some organizations that could provide free water filtration systems, but can you speak a bit more to how you see this being generated from a national standpoint with the effect of trickling to the local communities for that matter?
The government's primary role is legislation and creating laws that will allow us to harvest rainwater. When they allow this to happen, it can be used by those in the outer communities and those, who are basically everywhere. Once the law is passed, it's for everyone. And so those in those communities will be able to follow those laws and be able to harvest rainwater using tanks and filtration systems.
Thank you very much. And can you elaborate a bit more about the communication strategy? Can you elaborate a bit more about the communication strategy? We see many actors involved, but it would be nice to hear a bit more on the communication strategy.
The communication strategy?
Yes. Sorry?
Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, can you elaborate a bit more on the communication strategy that you are going? Yes, exactly.
Okay, so there are a lot of communication strategies that you can use. The most effective one would probably be social media. Everyone uses social media. Almost everyone has access to social media. However, for more official mediums, communication strategy would probably be involved using open forums, discussions with government officials, people of that matter to make things happen faster. But social media would be an easier way to get the information out there, and those forums would be a good way to help the information to stay where it is.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, team.
So while we take a minute to grade our winners, I'm going to pass the floor over to our judging panel in case they'd like to give any closing remarks, any advice for the youth from what you've seen today. So maybe we can go in order. Sorry. I don't. Okay. Yeah. I'm sorry. So everyone, let's just hear our closing remarks from our judging panel. So they're going to tell you, based on what they heard here today, what advice they have for you to realize these initiatives on ground, starting with Basmala. Go ahead.
Every single idea that has been, the innovation has been the highlight of this, I believe. The ideas are incredibly unique. They're new. They're targeted towards your communities, and you've reached basically the peak of what we wanted you to reach. However, just a little tiny bit of advice. When you're creating your targets, always make sure that you have your partners backing you up. Make sure who your partners are, have your community as well at your back. Just always consider that in order for a project to go, in order for your incredibly innovative idea to happen, you have to have your backups. Just keep this in mind.
Yeah, congratulations. Actually, I really like the fact that you addressed the issue from multiple angles and multiple profile. I think that was extremely good. And I really also like the way how you properly set the issue, posing question, creating the needs. So congratulations, and let's see who is going to win.
Hello, everyone. I was hoped to support as much as I can, but I was disappointed, to be honest, from one of the groups or most of them, because you're focusing into one partner. You cannot ally into the government. What if the government cannot support you? Then that's mean your project will not be implemented. So you need to have the private sector, you need to have the academic, you need to have the intergovernmental organizations, such as United Nations, such as the World Bank Group. You need to look for these resources. UN agencies, they are very valuable in your countries. They can help you and also provide all the financial resource, all the legal advices for you to implementing your projects. The second thing is to research. You need to research more. You need to really identify your target. Who will be your targeting with? I think that most of the judge community, they was asking about the communication. They was asking you about who is your target audience. So you need to really identify that. You need to have clear strategy. So you cannot reach out into the government without having clear objectives, without having clear and smart outcomes. So, okay, the projects, it was great. It was really, there was new projects I heard, which is really good, and I love it. But you need to have more strategies. How you gonna be implementing it? I know that there will be some regulations will be facing you, but the youth, they can fight it. The youth, they can raising their voice into their governments to say that we need to change it. We need to implement that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's quite an asset for me to say that you really, from the short period that you were given to come up with potential climate challenges and solutions, working within less than an hour to come up with these clearly showed that you are ready to do what is needed, which is take action and now. And that is what this whole issue with climate is about. I was also impressed with the fact that you looked at risks, you looked at challenges and came up with ways of turning the challenges into solutions, into business opportunities, into entrepreneurial ideas. So that is quite the way youth are really helping to change the dynamics around the enormity of climate, turning risks into solutions, turning risks into businesses. And then one other point was that a few recommendations here that while some of the solutions that were coming up were quite localized, which was important, it was useful for you to look at how to scale those up. Because the moment you begin to scale it from that small community, from that small campus, you begin to see what the roadblocks are. And that opens your mind to looking at, as my colleague was saying, the partners who can help you change that localized solution into more, scalable, flexible approaches or opportunities. And then that point that I wanted to flag with you is to think through the risks. When you are coming up with an innovative idea and you think through the risk and you think through how you're going to monitor those risks and monitor the approach to delivering, it helps you to identify potholes. It helps you to identify risks in your own business, and it helps you to come up with meaningful, practical ways of circumventing those. So those are the key pointers that I wanted to flag. But again, I want to add, end on the note that being able to, come up with ready action right in this room is a way of demonstrating what the youth brings to the table: innovation, timeliness, and ability to turn risks into solutions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much to all of you, to all the groups that presented today. You came up with very great ideas, and actually not only ideas, but also solutions. Of course, there are some improvements to be done, and they were also highlighted by Yango, but also by other colleagues here. What I want to say, and I want you to emphasize maybe in your future engagement as young climate energy leaders, is to really work with your community. And by your community, I do not mean only the young people that you are surrounded by, but by working with all the stakeholders that are part of your world, which could be young people as you are, but also some more senior experts, some governmental representatives, and all other stakeholders that can guide you, but can, at the same time can also have their mind change based on what you are proposing to them, and also with the fresh idea that you have. With regard to the solutions that and projects that you have shared with us today, again, another aspect that I hope you will be focusing a bit more in the future will be related to resources. When we talk about resources, we are talking about financial aspect that your ideas have to consider when you are moving from a conceptualization to an implementation. This is key, not only for this kind of project, but for all projects. But with regard to climate change and renewable energy related projects, it is much more important, because there is always a strong paradigm that has to be changed. Because not everyone consider or is aware about how renewables and climate change solutions can really change the world and support the overall goal that we are all pursuing here today and at COP28 as well. Thank you very much to all of you.
Thank you, everyone. Sorry that we had to wrap up for the room, but I would like to invite our esteemed judging committee to join me on stage to announce the winning group. Okay. And the group that had the highest score from the feedback committee is dun, 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 dun. No. Group number 1, congratulations. If you'd like to join us, can you join us on stage? On stage, non-existent stage. Congratulations on getting the highest scores from the feedback committee. Please join us for the winning group picture. We hope to see your project come to life with all the impactful outcomes of it. Facilitators, please join the winning group pictures. Facilitators, Yara, go. I think we're gonna need 2 lines. If the tall people would stand at the back, the less tall people, I'm not gonna say short, stand in the front. Congratulations, group number 1. Congratulations to everyone. Thank you all for joining us for today's session. We hope you benefited, and we really hope that you have enjoyed your time. We hope we weren't another boring session. We wish you the best in the rest of the sessions during MENA Climate Week. We'd like to thank the Youth for Capacity and the UNFCC for hosting us today.